Hey guys, welcome to the Introvert Dating Success Show. I'm Harry Wilmington, and on today's show, we're going to be answering a question from a Reddit user who wants to know, why do girls expect me to beg for sex? Which is interesting because I don't think that's a thing that's typically usually happening, but it's interesting to see what he feels it is that women are doing that make it feel like he's begging for sex. Let's go ahead and get into his message so I can answer this guy's question. So he says, all the times where I have dated a girl and we ended up having sex, they sort of want me to ask them for it multiple times. They will say, quote, okay, we can go back to your/my place, but nothing will happen, end quote. Then we make out and they will start to undress themselves and we have sex anyway. I don't pressure them or anything. It sort of just happens on their part. Is it because they don't want to appear as easy or something? One time, a girl tried to do something similar where I gave up pretty quickly and went home. We agreed to meet again, but she ghosted me. If I was persistent like my latest date, I probably could have slept with her, but I don't really like doing it. I feel kind of dirty, not gonna lie, but the girls seem to continue contacting me afterwards, so it's not like they see me as a predator or something. Writing this feels very weird. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the show before, but in short, understand that women in society are judged a lot more heavily if they're the ones to go out there and say emphatically, hey, I had a good time on this date and now I want to have sex. It's a thing that women have to deal with. As men, we don't understand it in part because that's not really our stigma. Like, we're almost expected, quite regularly actually, that we're going to go on a date, and most women are already assuming that we're thinking about sex nonstop. So there's some stereotypes on both ends that aren't really fair, because for that guy, like I was a guy that was legitimately going out on dates just trying to have a good time, and especially early on when I was a virgin until I was 23. So prior to 23, I was definitely dating, not trying to have sex, but with the full intention of, I want to get to know this woman. I want to see what her likes and dislikes are. I want to see if we gel well. And women were surprisingly freaked out by that. They were freaked out that a guy wasn't trying to actively have sex with them. So all that to say that with women in particular, there's already a stigma on them. So in order for them to be able to have in their head that they're a good person, and to allow themselves to think that, well, even if I want sex, I don't want to come off as a slew of derogatory names that people will call me if I do try to have sex, I have to put out there that I'm not going to do something because I don't want this guy to judge me. And also, to be honest, I don't want that to be the only thing that he wants from me. Because there are plenty of women that go out with men and they're thinking that the guy really likes them and is enjoying their company and wants to be with them. And then as soon as they hook up, the guy's nowhere to be found. He stops answering calls. He completely ghosts and goes away. So there's the third reason too. The third thing also is that realistically, women have a lot more safety concerns than men do when it comes to the area of sex. And so if she feels at any time that if she were to, if she were to just say no to you outright for having sex, or if you're in the throes of passion and she suddenly starts feeling weird and she wants to suddenly stop the proceedings, she needs to feel as though you're going to be a guy that's going to respect that no. And I've actually had this happen. There was a woman I was dating a few years ago, and on our first date we hooked up, our second date we hooked up, and then on that third date, we were like midway hooking up, and in the middle of it, she stops and is like, she wanted to suddenly ask me if I was in this just to hook up with her, or if I really liked her, whatever. And at that point, I'm like in the middle of, like, she's on top of me, and I'm like, this is weird, A. And also, like, so now I need to, like, convince her to get off of me because I don't know where this is going to go or what's going to happen if I try to argue we should keep doing it, even though she's giving indications that she wants to stop for the moment. And so I had to stop, and she laid next to me, and then we talked about the fact that I'd seen her three times already, and I had taken her out, and like, I'm not trying to spend my resource, yada yada. But the point is, but all that logical stuff doesn't matter if the woman is feeling like this may be just about the hookup, okay? And so all this to say, women sometimes early on will say things like, well, this isn't just about sex, or I'm not in this for sex, or, well, you can take me out, but if we go back to your place, I'm not doing anything, or if you come back to my place, we're not doing anything. And part of them at the time in the moment believes that to be true. But the other part is they're saying, I want to see how this guy's going to react if I put out there that sex may not possibly happen. And so as this guy's experiencing, What happens when you agree to that? What happens when a woman tells you that and you say, okay, that's totally fine? Well, you see the end result is that he ends up hooking up. But why does that happen? Well, because when you respect a woman's boundaries, when you respect her no in that moment, it goes from this thing where on these dates, oftentimes women are feeling like they're going to be forced into making the decision to have sex. But if they're not feeling it, they don't want to feel forced or or feel bad for having to give a no to a guy. All right. At the point that you actually agree with her no, or say something along like, hey, you know what? I used to always tell women this. I would always say, hey, you know what? Whether we hook up on this date or not, I'm good either way. My ultimate goal is for us to have a good time on this date. If that good time means that we're able to hook up, fantastic. If that good time means that we're not able to hook up, I'm still liking you as a person. I'm still having a good time. I'm not going to feel any way about it. What does that do? Well, think about all the guys she's been out with prior that would get butthurt, upset, try to make rational, but if you like me and blah, 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 blah. That's now making her think, see, he was going to force me to do some stuff I didn't want to do, and now he's gone. But when you take that pressure off, now the choice to have sex becomes just that. It becomes her choice. It becomes an option that she has no pressure of making, to where she can say, hey, that guy respected my boundary. That's absolutely great. And when she says to you in the moment, I don't think we're not going to hook up if we go to your place, in that moment, she actually means it. But moments for women can change. And so what she's saying in moment A over here could completely change depending on how well you build up the moment to moment B. So this guy, he's here on these dates, hey, so if we go back to your place, I'm not hooking up. If he's saying, okay, that's fine, it's whatever, well, now pressure's off of her. She make a decision, whatever. They go back to her place. Now he's creating new moments. He's bringing some wine out. Maybe they're sitting on the couch, cuddling up and watching TV. Then he said he starts making out with the girl. So he's making out with her. And at this point in this moment, now she's feeling his lips. She's feeling his caress. She's starting to feel like all the tingles inside of her. She's also thinking back on the great date she had. She's thinking about the fact that he said he wasn't going to force her to do something. And that was really kind and sweet. And it's making her feel like she can feel trustworthy around him. And she sees him as being protective and safe, and then those feelings are combining with the feelings of her being touched in certain ways, and now he's caressing this and that, and this is all building up to this new feeling in this new moment, which is, hey, in this moment, I'm really feeling a strong connection with this guy. Now I'm ready to have sex. So I think guys are looking at it like, well, she's saying this thing of she doesn't want to have sex, and I feel like I got to try to trick her into, want to do it later on, and I feel dirty and disgusting, and that's because we're thinking very linear. I talked about that in the previous video. We think very linear about it, and we also think very exact in terms of like if that words mean something. So if, for example, if I say this thing, it means this thing. If I say, hey, I'm not going to go down to that bakery and order this cheesecake, it means I'm not going down to this bakery to order this cheesecake. And we take things very literally. And so when we hear women say stuff sometimes, we're taking it as it's a lockdown, always going to be forever in perpetuity type of thing. If a woman says at the beginning of the date, hey, if we go back to your place, then we're not going to do stuff, a guy's thinking literally, well, she said the words, so she must mean the thing, and so I'm going to go by that. And so for guys that are thinking, well, nothing's going to happen, they'll just go home. As a guy that's a little bit older, more experienced, I already know that if a woman says to me on a date, hey, if we go back to your place, I'm not doing anything, like 8 times out of 10, that's 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 times, if I just say, you know what, it's whatever, and I just go with the flow, and I just focus on the fun of the evening and creating new fun moments, then I know inevitably more often than not, the hookup's gonna come, but it's not because of anything I force this person to do. It's because I was making a fun environment. And I was just focusing on, getting some drinks and focusing on what we can watch and focusing on getting to know her more and focusing on, maybe she needed a little massage on the neck. And so I'm doing a massage. And then kissing feels good. We've probably already done that. So I can kiss or whatever. And then I'm focused on each of these little moments, but these moments are building. These moments build to the crescendo in her. That's like, these moments all feel so great. He's such a great guy. And now I want to make the choice to allow stuff to be done to me. It's really that simple. So don't feel dirty or off-putting if you're thinking to yourself, I feel so dirty for making it. Women of their own accord can choose to have sex or not have sex with you, okay? Your only job is to respect whatever her decision is. If she says she doesn't want to do some stuff, that's great. Respect that moment. If in the next moment she says she wants to do some stuff, don't get mad at her and be like, but you just literally told me that we're not going to do some stuff and I feel weird about that, now blah, blah. Because in this moment she's saying it's perfectly fine now. Take the moment at what it is, okay? Stop listening to words and listen to moments. You know why so-called bad boys and jerks score so well? Is because they've learned the art of the things that I say don't actually matter. What matters is how I'm saying things and the tone of those things and what that's doing to her. And also they know that, hey, she might be feeling some kind of way in one moment, but if I just know the right moments to build, I can at any time say, hey, I'll agree to stop at whatever moment you feel uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that you don't try to build up to those moments, because ultimately women want men to be the ones to take lead on leading them down the path to feeling comfortable enough to want to do some stuff, okay? So hopefully this helps you guys out there that are sometimes confused by the language that women are using or by the lingo or not understanding why in one moment they're going to be like, I don't want to hook up with you, and the next moment they're jumping on top of you. You have to understand that for most women, it's about the feeling and emotions of the moment. And if the moments are changing, then that means her mind is also available to change. So what you have to do as a guy is recognize that the literal words you're hearing right now could very well change in the next moment. You have to learn to not get flustered by that. And I was a guy that used to do that. Like, I'd be very much literal, like, she said this thing, so why is it changing up? I feel frustrated. But in the process of being frustrated, you're also passing up on some slam dunk hookups that could be happening, all right? So focus on the emotions she's going through and the feelings of the moments that she's going through, less on the words, and you'll be less frustrated, and you'll feel totally fine when a woman goes from like not wanting to hook up to being like, hey, I'm ready to do some stuff, let's get it cracking.